Hashem Yisbarach. Yom Shlishi, the Parshas Pekudei, Shnas Tovshin Ayin Vov, Yeshiva Tiferes Avigdor. The Medrash, it says, Vayaviu es hamishkan Moshe. And they brought the Mishkan to Moshe. So he says, Hadahu diksiv. This is what it says in the pasuk. Oiz v'hodar levusha. Strength and splendor are our clothes. V'tischak liyom acharei. And she rejoices on the Yom Acharei, the last day. Mahu liyom acharei. What is the meaning here of liyom acharei? Now we're talking over here about the schar that the Maisa of Tzadikim, Maisim of Tzadikim and Tzidkonios confer upon them. That means the time for schar, the expectation for schar is liyom acharei. Shekol matan schoron shel tzadikim, Chazal tell us, misukin lohem lo Olam Haba, is prepared for them in Olam Haba. That's when the Iker Simcha, and when you see the results of all your Maisim Tovim, that's when the Iker Simcha is going to be. Maisa b'Rebbe Abo. There was a Maisa with Rebbe Abo. Shahoyu mistalik min ha'olam. He left the world. V'ro kol ha'toiv, and he saw all the toiv shemesukin loy la'olam haba. They showed him mamish. Chazal tell, they showed him rivers of afarsim and oil. They showed him landscapes, vineyards. They showed him mamish a little chashen zach and haba. And he said, Hischil Sameach. He began to become a simcha. V'omar, and he said, B'tmiya, he said, Kol Elaine de Abu, are all these for Abu? Is this all mine? So the first question you have to understand is, it seems he began to become Sameach only then. Why did he only begin to become Sameach only then? So that's what it says. V'tischak liyom acharei. But then he added, and he said, what's your surprise? V'ani amarti, I said, Lorik yogati, all my toil was for naught. L'soyu v'heva, for garnished. Koichi kilesi, I expended all my koiches. Hear that? That's what he thought. But I guess Mishpat is Hashem's, and it's what Hashem gave me. Heve v'tischak liyom acharei. So the question over here is, what is the meaning of this? Bishlema us. We're SHLTA with a tischak already today. But if a guy sits and thinks about his matziv, he knows Lev Yodei Amoris Nafshay. Like Shlomo says, everybody knows how many chatoim we have. The Machshava, the Dibur, the Maisa, how much Bittul Torah we have, Bittul Mitzvahs, lack of Zehirus, Loisa says, okay, so we can understand that we be nervous. But how could it be that Rabbi Abu says? And more so, Rabbi Abu said, I thought that Lirik Yogati, that means he was Miagayah. If I say my life was Lirik, is you know why? Because I wasted my time. I didn't work too hard. I didn't toil too hard. I don't mean any, for baby that you toil. You don't toil with feet, with teiches. Of course not. So you don't expect anything. But Rabbu worked like, Rabbu knows how to work. So why did he think Lirik Yogat? Why did he think Litoyu the Hevel Koichi Kilis? Why did he think so? You had a question? That's a very good question. Very strong question. You understand that question? Rabbu is a tzaddik. Why did he expect that Hashem to give him his schar? Hashem gives schar? Not by Alba, but the next world he gives schar. Why not? And he toiled, and he worked hard. Why did he think that you wore down his koiches, koichi kilesi, for nothing? Why do you think so? Did he not read the Mishnah in Ovis that Neman Baal Milachtoi Sheyishalim Schar Polosai, that Hashem is trustworthy, that Hashem will be Mishalim the Schar of his Pula? So why did he entertain such a thought? So the teretz is that as follows. This is a big yisoid, and I hope that HaKadosh Baruch Hu accepts this yisoid as a yisoid emes. It was definitely preferred by a very big tzaddik and Talmud Chacham, the Maggid of Dubna, and even though we offered you other opinions on this, but this opinion, this is his opinion. It says like this. You know, you find, he says, in the Torah, a number of psukim that seems to contradict each other. In the Torah it says, Zois ha-Torah Adam ki yomus boy. Chazal tell us, Ein ha-Torah miskayemes, elo b'mi shemeimis atzmoi eleh. If a person is meimis atzmoi eleh Torah, then the Torah is going to be. It means to say, you need avodah gedolah, and you need tremendous shibud haguf for Eisa Kadoyer. On the other hand, it says, Ki karav eilecha hadavar ma'oit, v'ficha b'lvavcha l'asaysim. It says to observe the Torah and the mitzvahs, it's quite easy. It's karav eilecha. It's not so hard. As the Navi, Micha came and rebuked us, Hashem said, my nation, what have I done to you? When did I tire you out? That means to say, it's not hard to go b'darkei ha-Torah. So how do you make these two points of view coincide? How do you make shalom between these 2 points of view? So the Dubna Maggid said a motion. Said there was once an ani that he had a relative that was a very rich guy. And one day, the son of the Ashir did a shidduch with a very rich girl, and everybody prepared himself for this kavaldige chasana. A number of days before the chasana, this ani thought, I'm going to be invited to this chasana. Why not? No shal about it. So he decided, I'm going to prepare myself for this chassan. What am I going to do? I'm not going to eat anything on the day of the chassan. I'm going to fast. Nope. And he was fasting. Then he thought to himself, it's going to be such good food like I never saw. Why should I fast one day? I'm going to fast 2 days. So 2 days before he starts to fast, starting himself. And he figured tomorrow night, I'm going to have a chassan and I'll enjoy myself. Nope. But comes Monday, the second day in the evening, and he's already very schwach. And he looks out the window, and he wants to see if the Mesharsim of the Gvir are going to call the invitees, the people invited to the chassan. Nope. That was the derech in those days. And he sees the Mesharsim going, coming, and every time they pass by his house, he's sure to come to knock on his door. They don't come knock on his door. And he felt terrible. So finally he said to his wife, my dear wife, I'm starving over here. You know, what do you have? You have anything to eat? She said, listen, I have a piece of hard bread. I have onions. I have garlic. That I got plenty of. Would you like some of that? She said, yeah. She gave her radishes, he gave her onions, he gave her this cheap food that he gave her, and that's what he ate. After he ate, all of a sudden there's a knock on his door. Knock on the door, goes to the door, he's a fancy Mesharis with white gloves, he says, I'm calling your relative, make a hasna, wants a special guest, and wants to invite me to the guest. Nope. The guy came, they sit him down, they give him this big plate of fish. He didn't see what's going. Takes the first bite and dug him. After the onions, after the bread, after the garlic, after the radishes, mamish, like it says in the pasuk, nefesh, seveya, a satiated soul, covers leifes, mamish fine. It's memayas, good stuff. Then they brought sweet roast meat with yoitev and gravy. The guy took one spoon in his mouth, mamish. All of a sudden the bitterness of the onions came up, the garlic came up, starts to burp, and it turned out to be like vinegar and chaymitz for the guy. And the guy felt terrible, and he sat there the whole suda like that. He says, so Duvman's like this, a person, Hashem invites a person to this world, and he says, I'm inviting you to the Suda, of Torah mitzvahs. And you should know, Ki karvei lecha davar ma'oin, kulam nesukim, kulam ahuvim, kulam ne'imim, all geshmak is isa mitzvahs, derachea darchi noya. But in order to feel that mesikis, you gotta be misakim yourself. You have to overcome your bad midas. You gotta work on yourself. But after a person, if he didn't work on his midas, and he satiated himself with his bad midas, and he enjoys the taivas of Olam hazeh, so when that person comes to the Torah, you know what's going to happen? He has no tam, no sweetness in the Torah. You take a guy who's coming from basketball, the guy mamish is getting his endorphins pumped, sweating away buckets. He's feeling, this is chayim. This is not larik yagati. This is not being mechala. It's not kaichi kalisi lahevel. This mamish is geshmak azak. Played a game with a couple of guys, got a couple of points, and then he's sitting down by the Gemara. The Gemara looks at him like choshech b'afim. It doesn't hold interest for the guy. You have a guy that read a book. He's at a Talmud. I could tell the guy when he came to sometime to learn, he came very geschmack, and sometimes it was like a wall. So I used to ask myself, where are you coming from? I'm coming from there, Avigdor. Where you come? What were we doing there? I was resting. Till I figured, Father asked me, you were resting? You were sleeping? I was resting. What were you doing? You were resting. And Father tells me, I was reading a book. So from now on, I know, anytime you come, I know if you're reading a book. So what did he start to do? Start to read a book at night. then he could jump in the morning. Because the book they read until 3, 4 in the morning sometimes, you can't start it. You can't do it, it doesn't work together. So if a person is going to satiate himself with the Tiferes of Olam Hazeh, you have to know that you're never going to have any of that joy in the Torah. So therefore, that's how we reconcile the two chazals. Means on one side, if a person got involved in Tiferes Olam Hazeh, as is very common for us, from our youth, Ki yetzer leiv ha'adam ra min ugurav, and most of us weren't trained properly in the darchei hachinuch. Fakert, the chinuch we got was that when you're younger, enjoy this world, play Little League and Yidel League and karate and play music and play this and play basketball lessons and play this lessons, every lessons except for Torah lessons. Then you tell the kid, okay, now come and learn Mishnayos. Mishnayos. That sounds like crazy stuff. And you take a kid in yeshiva, here's a bacher who grew up a frum bacher. His father tells me his father didn't grow up frum. His father said, how is my son going to last in yeshiva? A day like that, I have plots. I told him, because you were trained in laziness. You were trained, you went to public school, and you played half the day, and the rest of the day you did sports, and all the other kind of narishkeit, and also what other kind of areas you did. So, and here your son sitting and learning, and he's enjoying himself. Why do you think it's hard? What makes it hard is only a person's own hardships that he was margil himself to. That is the undermining of all of us and of all the children. You have to know that. And the many others mean well. But that says in the Gemara, Noshim Rachmaniyos Vishnu SHLTA. Merciful mothers cook their own children. Because they meant well for them, they for the kids. The Gemara delineates exactly from what age you mechanech a kid and how much you should learn. The Gemara said from a very young age, a kid, it says, Taible Gever Ki Yisroel min Urav, a kid could learn most of the day and into some of the night. Can you imagine that? That's the worst a kid can do. I'm not about a 12-and-a-half-year-old kid. A little kid. The worst, once a kid's ready to go to school, that's what they do. And it doesn't say, even though some social workers said you need an hour and a half for recess, you need green paint on the walls, you need blue desks, and you need this, and you need that. Don't say that. A person has to know that all of our impediments come from the things that we were margil ourselves, we trained ourselves, and we allowed ourselves to get involved in. And that is what creates our great difficulties. No? So now what's the problem? The problem is, but if once a person gets rid of those impediments, it's Haba the time beside himself. Hashem says it's a walk in the park. You think that when you see a gadol, or you see a person who's living and learning, Yom and V'layla, you think he's working hard? He's doing what he enjoys. He's doing what is rocking his boat. He's doing what is floating his sails. His ship is on fire. It's the fellow who has other interests that suffers from this side. So therefore, Rabbi Abuhu said as follows. Rabbi Abuhu said, I worked hard, and I toiled hard. He didn't mean that he toiled hard on the learning Torah. He means he toiled hard to be misaking himself so that the mitzvahs came easy. He worked hard on himself. A person never works on his midas. Like the Goyen says, Lama lichai. I once heard Leisha Shach say, he made a very big ration on it. He said over this Goyen in Mishlei, and he said, the Goyen says that if a person learns ganz Bavli, ganz Yishalmi, they said he made a whole cheshbon, everything I learned. But the guy didn't work on his midas. Lama lichai, ganz chai was not shavah. Because for a person to attain his epitome, his place in Torah, that person has to overcome his things, his connection to Olam Hazeh that he was margil himself to. So Babu comes along and says, I said that all my toil was lyric. I'm not going to get schar for that. Because I myself, in my youth, was margil myself, and I created that impediment, I created that interest, and therefore I had a difficulty to learn. But the mitzvahs themselves, once I got past that, came easy. So if so, I don't deserve any schar for that. It says the Moshe, there was a guy whose house got burned down. And then it became a dump. Today, when you have a house that gets burned down, they put a big sign, no dumping. They put up a fence around it, no dumping. Well, that's a meaning. Olam, a chorva became a dump. So after that guy, the person found favor in the eyes of the governor of that place, and he told him, you know what? I'm going to assist you rebuild the house. Build now, not much nice house. But the Tsar told him, the governor told him, first of all, clean the place up. Make sure that the shetach, the area, is ready to build on. Clean up the place. Take all the garbage out, get the old building gone. So the guy spent a lot of money on that. He cleaned the place up, and he got it Ochimko. After he fixed it up, the Tsar sent him everything he needed for the work. He sent him the workers, and they built the guy Mamish a beautiful house. One day, the Tsar hears that that guy is glorifying himself in front of people, and he's saying, I built this house together with the Tsar, together with the governor. So the Tsar said, called him in, he said, I heard me and you have a shutfus. Show me which chelik of the binyan is yours. Show me which chelik of the binyan, what's your contribution to the building? So the guy takes out from his pocket a piece of paper. I'll show you. He said, I had a number of truckloads of garbage. I had to pay for garbage upon garbage that was left in my property, and I had to prepare the ground. I had to demo the old house, so the Tsar turns him fool. Whose fault was that? Whose fault was that? This garbage there. It was your fault. You should have put a sign around. No dumping. You knew people were going to dump over there. That's your fault. So if you yourself used it for dumping grounds, or you caused it to be dumping grounds, but that's not called the building of the house. The building of the house is all mine. You have to know that this is what the matzav is with people. People value themselves, and they feel that they're deserving of schar from HaKadosh Baruch. It's amazing to me. How many people have told me of the schar they're deserving of? Because they gave up many of their Tiferes. Many of the Tiferes they gave up. Here's a guy who is becoming frum, and he was a nerdik about Tifer. In all areas of Taiva, he was a Baal Yechelis. He had money, and he ate the worst foods, mamish, the worst tarfa shaykh in the ganze Welt. And it was a rough thing for him to go kosher. It's not easy. It was avoid the kosher Avigdor for the guy to become. And he used to always tell me, I sure hope Hashem is going to pay me for this big time. And I used to say to him, why should Hashem chayav you? You like the guy who's a drug addict. I told him, and the guy took drugs. He got himself on drugs. He ruined his life. He destroyed his family. He destroyed his relationships. Now the guy goes clean, and he says, okay, who's going to pay me for this? Who's going to pay for this? You took the drugs, so you clean yourself up. You want schar for you being metami yourself. This is what Rabbi Abu said. Kol ilay de Abu is all this schar and Haba, Abus. I thought that all my yegia was lyric. My toiling was for naught. Because I was just trying to get beyond but once I got past my garbage, then didn't have to work hard. Then my mitzvahs came easily. I did the Shmaya, no impediments. And so now he saw, no, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Roiv Tuva, the Mishpat Hashem is such that HaKadosh Baruch Hu paid him back for every type, for every shvira, for every break of his type. So I told the guy, really b'seich, you don't enjoy it. You deserve exactly what that drug addict got. But you want to know something? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a Zabal Chesed. And Hashem is going to pay you. Even though you got in the toilet, and Hashem is going to help you, you break yourself and you cleanse yourself, Hashem is going to give you schar for that. And that's what it says in the Pasuk. U'lecho Hashem Chesed. Hashem your Chesed. Ki ato tishalem leish k'ma'aseh. Until the Perek Samach Beis. You pay a person according to his ma'aseh. So the Mefarshim say, what's the chesed that Hashem pays a person if he is ma'aseh? The teretz is, even though the person trained himself in his taivas Olam Hazeh, and me'ikar hadin, he didn't have to pay him for him now overcoming his taivas. Still in all, Hashem is mischased with him, and Hashem is mishalim li'ish k'maseh. In this world, our schar is for our kinyan. That means there's two kinds of a schar. There's a fellow who right now is not in the mood to learn. And he's misgaber upon himself, and he goes to learn. That's not a kinyan. That's a ma'aseh toif. Then there's a person who knows that he has other interests. And those other interests are moishech him away from Torah. And they're a constant thorn in his side. There are some people who always have things to do. It's amazing. You ask them, where you running? Where you running? They're always running to do things. Now, after studying this for many years, I always wondered, what's the pshat? Are these people busier than anybody else? No. No, these are individuals who seek to be busy. They're looking for any excuse as long as not to be busy with Torah. They pay their tax sometimes, so they'll come to the Beis Medrash, no one else comes. And they'll sit there for a little bit. And they'll learn. And they'll tell themselves, you see, I'm better than everybody else. But when you're supposed to learn, they have no shaykhs to come. They can't keep starim of tefillah. They can't keep starim of learning. They have no shaykhs to come. As a matter of fact, they're so tired and they're so, it's like almost they have allergies to learning. They don't have it. You know what they think? And the emes is, they were margil themselves because they're a roitzer, they were seeking excuses. When they're 3 years old, and the teacher said, sit in class, you know what they said? Oh, I have to go to the bathroom, I have to go out, my mom, I have to go to this, I have to go to the office. They were always looking to relive things. And as they grew up, it became the same thing. So they found mekaymis where to invest their interests. And those people have absolutely no shaykhs. So they never get a kinyan. When a person makes himself a kinyan, and he's kindness, a person's able to now remove from his mind his busyness. All of a sudden he discovered he's not that busy. Or he decided he doesn't want to be that busy. Interesting. And if he is busy, he has to do something, it's bekaishi, goda, that he doesn't. And it's, does it? The SHLTA. Then you have people who are always looking for answers of how not to have to go to daven. They're always looking for answers. And they're drayers, they're such drayers, it's amazing. If you talk to them, they sell themselves on the dray companies. These people are, like Michal says, these people have so many excuses. There's a lion in the road, there's a danger in the road, this is dying, that's dying, it's sakana, it's this. The atzlus is unbelievable. And because of that, they can't function. And it cripples their life. And the Yitzhara lets them every once in a while come up for water and learn for little sprinkles of time, but they never make any kinyan in anything. That is the heartbreaking tragedy, because there's people going to come to the next world and they're going to wonder, where's my schar? Hashem says, schar. Schar for what? When you were a little boy, you're going to have him tell you. When you were a teenager, you're going to have him tell you. When you were an older teenager, you're going to have him tell you. When you got married, you're going to have him tell you. When you had children, you're going to have him tell you. You don't stop. You're just looking for excuses. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, do you not know what Chazal say? That a person who looks for things to disturb him from learning, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you many reasons to get disturbed. That's like, people say, why am I more busy than anybody else? How's it change? And the answer is, you're not. You're as busy as you want to be. But if a person was misgaber upon himself, and he made himself a kinyan in Torah, even if originally it was his own doing that he was margil himself to a life of easiness, and he trained himself, and he created the difficulties in Torah mitzvahs for himself. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says that if you're going to break yourself, you're going to overcome yourself, then you're going to have a binyan in the next world. You're going to have a plot of land instead of just a few corners. Then you're going to be kind of something. You're going to have something to be proud of. Here's a fellow, that's why it says in the Gemara, a person should be kavei itim l'Torah. What is kavei? When you set your time, and that time never breaks. That's what kavei l'Torah means. This is my time, I don't go for nothing. This is what I do. I'm kavei. No, I try my best. I try my best. It's not a kfiz. It's not a kfiz either. It means you weren't machshir. You weren't right. It's the smallest excuse. My wife, my kid, my grandmother, my mother, my father, no, please, my aunt. She doesn't understand. Don't you understand? My aunt. And get raped. That's what takes care of ants. And you have to put the rain on yourself. You have to decide that you're going to commit yourself, to make yourself a kinyan, to be somebody who's focused, to be kind of, to be zeicha, to oiz v'hoda l'vusha v'atischak l'yom achar.